Well, today we are going to talk about a lesson of grammar that's conditional type 3. Before that, I would just love to ask you, I think you all have smartphones, you have tablets, and other technological gadgets. And when you look, for example, at this smartphone, maybe what comes to your mind is, where was it made? Well, you can tell that it's made in China, Korea, Singapore, or even Taiwan. Yeah, if you say that, you are not wrong. That's right. So, the countries in the Southeast Asia, for example, South Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, these are called the East or the Southeast Asian tigers. But let's say, do you know something about these countries? Oh, these countries actually were just like Morocco and other countries, but they did something that made them different. Let's see. Here is a text that gives us some information about these countries. Let's read. In the 1960s, South Korea and other Southeast Asian countries were lagging far behind in almost all fields. They got rid of colonization that had exploited their national wealth for decades, so they started to build their nations from the beginning. It was not long before the Southeast Asian tigers made a remarkable leap forward in development by giving the utmost importance to education, economy, and culture. South Korea, for example, established a substantial education system that produced highly skilled graduates. In economy, the government encouraged exports and imposed restrictions on imports. How can you imagine that South Korea was nothing but a small and developed country 60 years ago? Because successive governments worked hard and planned long-term rigorous policies, South Korea became a leading country in cutting-edge technology. South Korean corporations outdid American, Japanese, and European multinationals. The Korean economy repeatedly achieved higher rates of growth as the country invested in products of high quality as well as reliability and relied on high-trained Korean human resources. This is a short text that gives us some information about what happened. Let's ask the questions about this passage. First question is, why did South Korea and other Southeast Asian countries start to build their nations from the beginning? How did Asian tigers make a remarkable leap forward in development? Why did South Korea become a leading country in cutting-edge technology? Why did the South Korean economy repeatedly achieve high rates of growth? These are 4 questions about the passage. Let's see the answers. Because they got rid of colonization that had exploited their national wealth for decades, by giving the utmost importance to education, because successive governments worked hard and planned long-term rigorous policies, and finally, because the country invested in products of high quality and reliability. Okay, now let's notice this example. If South Korea and other Southeast Asian countries hadn't got rid of colonization, they wouldn't have started to build their nations from the beginning. Let me repeat. if South Korea and other Southeast Asian countries hadn't got rid of colonization, they wouldn't have started to build their nations from the beginning. Now, let's complete the sentence following the example above. If the Southeast Asian tigers hadn't given to education, economy, and culture, they in development. 2. South Korea wouldn't have become a leading country in cutting-edge technology if successive governments, rigorous policies. 3. If South Korean corporations hadn't relied on highly trained local human resources, they... Now let's see what's missing. Let me read now. If the Southeast Asian tigers hadn't given the utmost importance to education, economy, and culture, they wouldn't have made a remarkable leap forward in development. I repeat. If the Southeast Asian tigers hadn't given the utmost importance to education, economy, and culture, they wouldn't have made a remarkable leap forward in development. 2. South Korea wouldn't have become a leading country in cutting-edge technology if successive governments hadn't worked hard and planned long-term rigorous policies. 3. If South Korean corporations hadn't relied on highly trained local human resources, they wouldn't have outdone Japanese and European multinationals. You see, what's in the red is what was missing actually. Let's now complete the rule of conditional type theory. As you see, you have if, we start with if, this is the conjunction, and the part of the sentence that starts with if is called if clause. It's one part of the sentence. It starts with if, so that's why we call it if clause. The second part of the second clause is called the main clause. Now let's see. If, of course, plus subject, plus the verb, but let's see which tense. This is the first clause, if clause. The second clause of the main clause starts with subject plus would or could plus plus. This is one way. Another way is you start from the other part of the sentence. You start with the main clause. So blank, something, plus would or could, as I said, plus something else. Then comes the if clause. So if plus subject plus. Now let's see the full rule. Yeah, here is the rule. So either this way, if plus subject plus past perfect. This is the if clause. The main clause, subject plus would or could plus have plus past participle. This is one way. Another way is you start with the main clause. So subject, would or could, plus have, plus past participle. So now this is the main clause. Comes the if clause. So if plus subject plus past perfect. So this is the rule. You can start or use whichever you like, first or the second, just the same. Let's practice now. Now match the parts of sentences in column A with those in column B. Munia would have done better if Umayma had invited us to her birthday party, if Pet hadn't been 10 minutes late, they wouldn't have gone to Paris in winter. Let's see column B. He would have caught the 9 p.m. train if their aunt hadn't been sick there, if she had prepared well enough, we would have attended. So your task is to match the parts in column A with the other parts in column B to make a complete sentence with conditional type 3. Let's see the answers. So we got Munia would have done better if she had prepared well enough. If Umayma had invited us to her birthday party, we would have attended. If Pete hadn't been 10 minutes late, he would have caught the 9 p.m. train. And finally, they wouldn't have gone to Paris in winter if their aunt hadn't been sick there. So these are the answers. Let's go through further practice. We write the following sentences using conditional type 3. 1. Andrew squandered all his pocket money, so he didn't go the school trip. 2. Nada couldn't attend the seminar because she was a bit sick. 3. Shema couldn't submit the project yesterday since she didn't find all the references on time. 4. Because they needed money for a surgery, our neighbor sold their car. 5. My uncle got a promotion as he increased the sales of the company. And finally 6. The TV series was so captivating that I watched 5 episodes successively. As you see in these sentences, we have 2 parts, 2 sentences. And just notice that one of these parts is the cause, and the other is the effect. It means there is always a relationship of cause and effect. So when we say if, it's always followed by the cause, the part which expresses the cause. This is the if clause. And for the main clause, it's about the part that speaks about the effect. Now, let's go over the sentence again. Andrew squandered all his pocket money, so he didn't go to the school trip. It's clear that the first part here now is the cause. Why? The second part, such sentence starts with so. It means this is the effect. Which means when we convert into the conditional type 3, we write if and we add the first part, which means Andrew squandered all his pocket money. Of course, by making the necessary changes. Let's look at 2. Nada couldn't attend the seminar because she was a bit sick. Which part will follow if? she was a bit sick. This is the part. If plus this part, then plus the other part. Of course, after we make the necessary changes. 3. Shema couldn't submit the project yesterday. Since, this is the word since, means because. She didn't find all the references on time. So this is the part that comes immediately after if. Because she didn't find the cause. Of course, this is the effect. Now let's look at sentence 4. Because they need money for surgery? Because. So this is the cause. Our neighbors sold their car. So if plus this part, then this part. All this part, if plus this part. Whichever way you choose, it's okay. 5. My uncle got a promotion. Why did he get a promotion? Why did he get a promotion? It's because he increased the sales of the company. That's why he got a promotion. So, when we use if, we start with this part and then this. 6. The TV series was so captivating. Yes, the TV series was so captivating. So what happened? I watched 5 episodes successively. Now, if plus this part, this is the cause. And then this is the effect. Without this, this can't happen or won't happen. And this happened because of this. So if plus this first part, this is the cause, and then the second part. Of course, we make the necessary changes. Now let's see how it looks after the changes. If Andrew hadn't squandered all his pocket money, he would have gone to trip. This is something which is contrary to facts. It's actually the opposite of what happened. What happened is, as we saw, he squandered all his money and he didn't go to trip. Now we postulate or we hypothesize, we say, if Andrew had squandered all his pocket money, he would have gone to trip. But did he go to trip? No, he didn't go. Why? Because he squandered all the money. Let's look at 2. The same. Nadia could have attended the seminar. Did she attend the seminar? No, she didn't. Why? Because she was a bit sick. Now, Nadia could have attended the seminar if she hadn't been a bit sick. But she was sick and she couldn't attend the seminar. 3. Shema could have submitted the project yesterday. Could she submit it? Well, no, she couldn't. Why again? Because she didn't find all the references on time. The sentence looks like this. Shema could have submitted the project today if she had found all the references on time. But what happened is just the opposite. 4. If our neighbors had needed money for surgery, they wouldn't have sold their car. But they sold it because they needed the money for the surgery. As you say again, it's just the opposite of what happened. 5. My uncle wouldn't have got a promotion if he hadn't increased the sales of the company. But he got a promotion because he increased the sales of the company. So we say, if my uncle hadn't increased the sales of the company, he wouldn't have got a promotion. Or, my uncle wouldn't have got a promotion if he hadn't increased the sales of the company. As you said, whichever way you use it is okay. Now the last sentence here is, if the TV series hadn't been so captivating, I wouldn't have watched 5 episodes successively. But it was so captivating. and they watched 5 episodes, one after the other. It was so captivating. So here, if the TV series hadn't been so captivating, I wouldn't have watched 5 episodes successively. So this is it. Conditional type 3 is condition in which we talk about the opposite of what happened. Something we would love to change, but we can't change it. It's past, it's finished. For example, we say, I didn't work hard and I didn't pass. This is what happened. I didn't work hard, so I didn't pass. Now I say, if I had worked hard, I would have passed. But did I work hard? No, I didn't. Did I pass? No, I didn't. So I say, if I had worked hard, I would have passed. As you see, it's just the opposite of what happened. So I can't change this. It's finished. I didn't work hard. For last year, I didn't pass last year. It's finished. So we may need to work hard for the next year and maybe to pass next year. But for the last year, it's finished. It cannot change it at all. This is the things in which we use, the situations in which we use conditional type 3. Of course, you still remember conditionals type 0, 1, and 2. So this is 3. It's just unlike the others. We use it to speak about conditions which talk about past events to which we can do, or about which we can do nothing, we cannot change. I hope you now got the concepts of conditional type 3. Thank you.